I want to jump to the surplus that we're currently running in Pennsylvania, about $540 million coming into June. I know you want to take a hands-off approach to that, set that money aside either to pay down debt or put it into reserve funds. But there are indications out of the state Senate that the Republican leadership there may want to or may be open to tapping into part of that. My question to you is the door open at all for a compromise on that where even a small portion of that surplus might be used to offset some proposed cuts?
Well, Brad, you used the word surplus, and I won't use that word because I don't know how you have a surplus when we know that Pennsylvania, because of the recession, because of the number of people who lost jobs, and had to borrow money from the federal government, owes the federal government $3.7 billion as we sit here today talking about that. So that's a negative to us. Mm-hmm. In the budgets of the last couple of years, the legislature and the governor took, I think the number is close to $800 million out of the MCare fund, away from the doctors, money that was contributed by the doctors for insurance purposes, just took it right out of it and used it to the general fund. There's a lawsuit involved in that right now, and I'm not going to issue my opinion as to where that lawsuit's going, but we know we could be on the hook right now for $800 million when that case is over. And then there's the fact that we are $4.2 billion in the hole. So I don't know how excess revenue, higher than projected revenue is
right.
the word
revenue
we should
collections
use,
are higher
are
than
higher,
we expected.
And we don't know where they'll be at the end of this month, counts as a surplus. When I, with my budget team, sat down, we came up with a budget. It's $27.3 billion. That allows everybody to plan based upon that number and to make the difficult cuts. And I wish they didn't have to make those cuts. I don't want to have to make those cuts, but it's necessary to get our house in order. And I do not believe in continuing to spend when, first off, we really don't have the money. And any excess revenue could certainly be held back in case of emergency. And also looking at next year's budget cycle, which we start working on almost immediately. And if you're looking at the trends in the papers lately about the economy, I have grave concerns about the economy. You just have to read the front page of the paper the last couple of days to see that Washington has concerns about it. Wall Street has concerns about it. Those revenues, collections could go down next year. So that is, unfortunately, I hate to say this, not a whole lot of money extra. We shouldn't be spending everything we have. That's what got us in the situation we're in right now.
So it sounds to me like you're pretty dug in with regards to that $540 million.
For the radio listeners, don't I look like it?
Absolutely.
That's the $540 million in above estimate revenue, Governor. But you mentioned we're not so sure that'll happen again next year. That gives you no reason to think we can take this 4% projected growth for the new fiscal year and maybe up that to mitigate cuts?
No, I wouldn't count on that right now. I mean, you look at the economy. Now, we're doing a little bit better in Pennsylvania than the rest of the nation, or a lot of the nation is in unemployment compensation, or excuse me, unemployment rates. But I've just been following the financial pages very, very closely. That economy it's not taking off. Let's put it that way. Most recessions since the Great Depression, you've had what some people call a V-shaped recovery. It went down and it rapidly came back. This one's not rapidly coming back, and this one so far is somewhat of a jobless recession. Jobless.
Yeah, and
jobless
a lot
recovery.
Of the big words are double dip that people are afraid of here.
Well, that is my concern. And when you have the money that we have, it's time just to hold on to it. We might have to spend it for any type of emergency that could come along.